Are you dealing with uneven pavement, cracks in the walls, floors, or ceilings at your home or business? Well, these are all problems that are not only eyesores, but they can also be downright dangerous. And Rick Malfers with Alpha Foundations is here, and he can help spot those potential problems and get them fixed immediately, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, tell us about Alpha Foundations.
Okay. Alpha Foundations is a local Jacksonville company, and we install specialty products for foundation repair, crawl space moisture remediation, basement waterproofing. Again, there's not a lot of those here, but we do that. And then sinking and settling concrete slabs. All of the products that we install come with either a long-term or lifetime warranty, fully transferable if someone ever decides to sell their home. We see about 3,000 to 4,000 structures a year, and we've been in business since about 2002.
I like that. Okay, well, so your company specializes in sunken concrete. How can you tell if there is sunken concrete? Is it something just visual, or do you have a unit, something that actually can tell that?
Well, most of the time we're getting a call from a homeowner or a business due to something that's out of level. So if they're walking around the pool deck and somebody stubs their toe, or they're in the driveway and they hear that clunk clunk, or again, we talked about it before, you're on the golf course and you're just hearing a lot of rattling on that concrete. That's what we end up looking for. Most of the time it's a homeowner maintenance issue that they call us about.
And so is it normally water under the concrete that's lifting it, or what's under there?
Normally what we find is, in North Florida, there are a lot of wet and dry seasons, and so what that does is it ends up, softening the soil. It ends up doing some erosion like we discussed before, and what that does is allows the concrete to become unlevel, unstable, and then we can come in there and get that back to level without replacing it.
I know so many places, and I'll say a couple of golf courses around town need to call Alpha Foundations quickly.
For sure.
I mean, just going over those sidewalks and ga-dunk, ga-dunk, ga-dunk.
Exactly.
We need you in so many capacities, and a lot of neighborhoods and stuff too.
Exactly.
Municipalities you were mentioning earlier.
Yes.
A lot of people. Okay, well, so what are some of the advantages of, or no, let's talk about the poly level that you use to actually correct this first.
Okay, the product is called Poly Level, and basically it's a two-part polyurethane system that we inject underneath the concrete. It's a chemical reaction between two parts which expands to a rigid foam and then lifts the concrete back up to level without having to replace it. And it's generally ready within about 15 minutes to an hour to drive, walk on, anything like that.
What a great, that's a really cool substance. I mean, I actually want to see how that works.
It's very
I want to come
nice.
out and see that.
For sure.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the advantages to maybe how simple this poly level is.
Advantages that we see most of the time, for one, is a cost factor. We too tend to be comparable or competitive with replacing the concrete. Number two, you're not having to have a lot of downtime. So if you're replacing a lot of concrete, then you can't drive in the driveway, you can't walk on the sidewalk, and then there's a lot of cost factors with that around a pool deck. And then another part is maybe that checkerboard pattern concrete. You have concrete that's 20 years old. If you replace it, then you're going to have new pieces, and it's just not aesthetically pleasing.
And so why do homeowners need to actually replace this, though? Let's talk about that.
Generally, if they're going to replace it, it's mainly due to it's too broken up to fix or something like that, or trip hazards. Even for apartment complexes, municipalities, there are ADA standards that talk about different levels of scrutiny that are allowed within the deviations of concrete. So we want to fix that before it becomes too big of a problem.
Okay, and so fixing this, let's talk about cost. Is cost a big deal, or is it not so much?
It's not so much, in our opinion. I mean, we really do believe that it's something that we can be comparable or competitive with replacing the concrete, and generally if we find we're maybe about 20 to 30% less than replacing the concrete. And for us, again, we can give those benefits to a homeowner of downtime, to where we're only there for 3 or 4 hours fixing an issue, and then they're able to use that concrete the same day.
And what about warranties?
We actually give a 5-year half-inch warranty. So if we come in there and we inject that underneath the concrete, we lift and level that concrete, and if there's any movement within that first 5 years, we come back out and re-inject the material at no cost to the homeowner. Again, which is transferable to any new homeowner if they decide to sell the house. I
like that. Okay, and then what's the best way for homeowners to actually gain knowledge and information about this product, this poly level?
AlphaFoundations.com. As far as construction industry, is definitely one of the best websites out there. Very interactive. You can see everybody that's coming to your house. You can see all the products we offer and videos pertaining to those products.
Well, Rick, we thank you so much for your time. And
Thank
Jacksonville needs you in many ways, more than sidewalks, for sure, everywhere around town. And we'd like to thank Alpha Foundation for sponsoring this segment. And for more information, visit alphafoundation.com or call 904-371-3287.